Is it bad that the first thing I thought about seeing the Nine Souls opening was this meme? Well, I finally got around to playing Nine Souls and finished that up recently. Did it make me want to slam my head into my desk? Yes. But did I enjoy having a good time playing this game? Absolutely. This game is fantastic. If you know me, I'm a big fan of Hollow Knight. So I was wanting to scratch that itch before I wanted to replay Silksong, and I actually waited for Nine Souls to have a physical release before purchasing it, and finally Fangamer released their physical copy for the Nintendo Switch, so I finally decided to pick it up. It actually is a point where people like Nine Souls over Hollow Knight, which is actually shocking to me at first, but now after experiencing this game, I can fully understand why. Essentially, Nine Souls is a Metroidvania that takes a lot of inspiration from Hollow Knight, but adds its own flair, really focusing on the combat itself, taking Sekiro elements from the parry mechanics to make the combat more engaging, and that's really the main hook of this game. Now, if you're bad at parry mechanics like I was in this game, you're going to have a tough time, but eventually this game will just click when it comes with the mechanics and the parrying system, and you'll start feeling like a really cool ninja just pulling off these really crazy moves. Now, if you don't get your parry mechanic like I did, where I was just spamming the button non-stop, you're going to get severely punished, because what this game does is if you get a perfect parry, nothing happens, and you gotta charge for your key charge, if I'm saying that right. But if you don't get a perfect parry but still get a parry off like a block, you actually get internal damage that becomes a red bar that will heal over time, whether you get a parry or just make sure you don't get hit. But the risk is if you get hit again without a parry, all of that goes away. So you want to make sure you're very on point with your parry. Where other people also really like this game is the boss fights, and after playing this game I can completely understand why. There were some boss fights in this game that gave me real hard troubles where I spent like 45 minutes to even 2 hours at the very end of the game just trying to figure out how to beat them. But I was having a great time because the bosses are so well designed. It made me keep thinking every time I saw a boss or a mini boss, what are they going to bring to the table? What am I going to have to adjust to? And what do I have to learn from their attack patterns is the real thing. And it kept me going through the game. Now, the one thing I wish this had more was more of the Metroidvania kind of experience where I didn't really feel lost too often when it came to like, oh, I need to go back to this place because I just got this ability. There was not really too many aha moments for me, where I don't know if that was more of me playing a lot of Metroidvanias or just something with the game design. I think it's more of me playing a lot of Metroidvanias, but don't know for sure. I kind of wish there was more like ways to discover everything, where I really felt like this was more of a linear experience, kind of like a Metroid Dread situation where there's a lot of exploring, but the game is kind of nonchalantly in a way pushing you to where you need to go, where I think there's only one or two times where I was like, where do I go, and had to have that aha moment. But I wish there was more of that, to be honest. Where the game also really comes into its stride is the visuals. The visuals are just absolutely stunning. Like every time I saw it, like any snapshot of this game could be like just a pure piece of art, like just hanging on a wall. It's just, I haven't had any moment in this game where I was like, man, that did not look good. It's just everything pops with the colors and the atmosphere and the world design. It's very interesting where you have this like ancient kind of cat-like species like are on this world, but they have a lot of technological advances that like you really want to delve more into. And then you also have the ape men, like the human like characters of this game, and kind of like stick to their old ancient ways, like kind of like thinking there's like gods and they want to worship and do sacrifices. It's a really intriguing story. And luckily, where this game isn't like Hollow Knight, is it delves into the story pretty well. Like you can follow along. There's a lot of character dialogue and a lot of conversations for anyone that really likes lore. So it's not like a Dark Souls game where like you have to go like find online and watch like 10-hour videos to understand what's going on. The game has that story for you, and I was actually interested in the story. I was really just wondering like, hey, where is this coming from? Where is it going next? It kept me moving forward, which is a nice touch because Hollow Knight kind of has that a little bit, but Nine Souls really delves into it quite a bit. which is really cool. And within that story, this game actually has some really dark themes. Like you kind of get a sense of it at the very beginning when they have the like kind of ritual. I won't spoil what happens, but I feel like people will have an understanding why. But ever since that point, like I would forget once in a while what kind of dark themes there were. And as the game continues, there's a lot of really creepy and weird things I didn't really think this game would get into, but it really does. Like there's even like a brothel in this game, which is absolutely crazy. And that boss fight was really fun, and it was just like weird looking at the backgrounds and everything like that. And like there's consequences to these bosses. Like once you beat the bosses, like it's not just oh, you beat them, you move along throughout the game, like everything's fine, like they go to jail or whatever. No, there are some dark things that happen to these bosses, and you'll definitely see more, which is good because it helps with the story of Yi, the character you're playing as, and on their quest to really go and like not really get revenge, but go after the people that wronged him. And you'll see where that kind of comes from. So if you have not played Nine Souls, I really think you should give it a shot. This game, it was highly underrated when it first came out, and I still think it was underrated to this day. I feel like not that many people talk about Nine Souls as much as Hollow Knight, because of course Hollow Knight's a giant collaborant. But man, it was unfortunate because this game came out in 2024, and this game was up against some big hitters like Black Myth Wukong, Elden Ring DLC, and also like Final Fantasy VII and Astro Bot. There was just so many great games that year. It was just Nine Souls, I think, would have been in that kind of playing field if it was a different year, which is really sad. But I think it's definitely like a 9 out of 10 game for me. Like, do I think it's absolutely perfect? No, but it's really, really close. Like, I can't recommend this game enough if you haven't tried it just yet. And definitely give it a shot. I think it's on sale a lot of the times on Steam. You can get a little bit cheaper. I believe it runs about $30 normally. Or you can get the physical copy like I did on Fangamer, where I highly recommend it. Save physical media. PlayStation, please save physical media. But I think this is a game that you should worth giving a shot. You know, if you're not a fan of Metroidvanias, I think the combat and the story is enough to keep you well invested. And if you get lost, like, just enjoy trying to find yourself in the world and see where you need to go and think about it. But if it gets too much for you, I would just look up a guide. Like, if it gets like too frustrating for you where you want to drop the controller and just not play it again, then go ahead and look up a guide. I highly recommend just trying to figure things out on your own, but that's not everyone. Where if you haven't really played a Metroidvania before, this could be your first one if you really like combat mechanics. But I will say once again, this game is challenging. I had moments where I was frustrated from bosses, but I had enough fun to keep going, and I'm glad I did. Because a very, very well-made game. I can't recommend it enough. But if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me if you want to see other videos from me. All of your guys' support really helps a lot. And thank you so much for your time, and I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day.